Or what do y'all even just think about dating a good dad? Single, married, in a relationship, just overall, when it comes to dating a good dad, what's something y'all think the ladies need to know?
I think from my experience post being a co-parent and getting into dating life, one of the biggest struggles that I had to try to explain and communicate about is priority means something else when you're a dad.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of times when women walk into your life, they want to put a priority. They want to be number one, right? However, there is no number one when you're a dad. You're doing a whole lot of balancing in terms of your time, your resources, your energy. So you gotta have a special kind of person come into your life to be able to understand that, to understand the significance of the children and the role that you play. And what I found that a lot of times women will be enamored by the fact that you're a wonderful daddy until it starts interrupting how much access and time they have to you.
Ooh, yeah. The bars by itself right there, baby.
Some bars. I would say just the confidence in wanting to be committed.
Wait, say that one more time, bro.
The confidence in wanting to be committed.
Man, you got to go deep into that. Cause commitment ain't high on all the bros or the dads fulfillment list.
I feel like a lot of gentlemen get into relationships that they had previous trauma or previous resentment. And it's hard for them to balance that previous resentment to turn it into future commitment.
Yeah. Even the future commitment gonna be controversial because what's the difference between commitment now and future commitment?
Being committed to yourself, to know and trust that you're walking by faith and not by sight.
I think one of the things that you're tapping in on is the trauma that comes, especially when you're a single person, you move from relationship to relationship, it's different. You're only dealing with your own circumstances, you're only dealing with your own issues and time. But it's different when you're moving from relationship to relationship when you have littles to care for. Because you don't want to bring those traumas or you don't want to expose them to a whole lot of extra anyhow. And so you kind of keep things at an arm's distance. And even if you have a wonderful, good person in your life, you're still keeping them at an arm's distance because you have this other thing, this other factor to consider all the time. So commitment becomes something it's kind of elusive because you really, really want it. You know that's what's probably best for your family and your circumstances. But it's hard to give that kind of focus on someone when you have little in the picture.
I can see it being a strange thing because it's like you want to commit, but this is completely different than every other relationship situation you would be in.
Oh, the balances are way different. Like the outcomes are way different. It isn't like you're just affected a lot. I remember being in a relationship post my breakup of the family, right? And that relationship ended, and I remember when I had to tell my children about it and how heartbroken my daughter was because she had spent this time with this new person and it developed this connection.
Yeah.
And it's you don't want to keep breaking your kid's heart, right? You already probably, especially as a co-parent, you've already been through that experience. You've already done that one time, and then you bring somebody new into their life, and you don't want to keep breaking their heart. So it becomes a very difficult thing to balance because it's not just one heart. In my case, it's 3 hearts that I'm in. My son, my daughter, my own. And so now I have this very different experience that I have to worry about because when I bring somebody into their life, they're going to fall in love with that person too.
I want to hear Aaron too, but I got to ask you a question off of that. When do you completely know and what boundaries is it do you stop managing your ex's heart too?
Oh, wow.
Because you named the hearts, the kids, the person you dating, which once again, that's commitment, that's give and go and a build. But I think a lot of guys may be stuck in a situation, especially if they early from a breakup or a divorce, where do you go with that? Like, how do you navigate? Because this was a person you was with, you're not with them no more, but they kids are involved. Sometimes feelings are still there. Like, how you do that?
I think for me, what I did, once that happened, once you get to the conclusion or the realization that there is no more bringing us back together, I don't know how much management I've done of that person's heart. I don't know if it's necessarily my responsibility, mostly because I was out here having to deal with my own healing myself.
Right. Yep.
Right? And truth be told, those matters of the heart have dissipated. Some of it because you're angry that relationship has ended. Some of it you have a whole lot of mistrust.
Yeah.
Because something that you guys went down a path of beginning and thought was going to be forever has ended now, so you don't know exactly what to do with that. I don't necessarily know if I spend a lot of time trying to live my life in accordance with their feelings. And good or bad, I don't know if that's necessarily something that I was aiming to do. What I was aiming to do was make sure that first I got myself in a mental space that allowed me to forgive my own mistakes in that relationship.
Yeah.
Learn what I had done wrong to negatively impact that relationship. And then be open to the idea that there is a person out there who's going to be able to come into my life, love on my children, and accept me for the new person that I am.
Yeah. What'd you say to that, Aaron?
I think there's a difference, man, in terms of, you said the initial question was loving a good dad or dating a good dad.
Yeah.
Dating a good dad is probably not a universal fit. I think each dad is going to come with different packages and lived experiences. But I think dating a good dad comes with seasons. And within those seasons, you show up different, the needs are different, what's provided is different.
Football dad different in football season, basketball dad different.
There might be seasons you need to love up on a good dad.
Yeah.
And then there's seasons where a good dad is, 100% locked and loaded, ready to do all the things that, you expect good dads to be able to do. And then there's other seasons where, I don't know. But I think generally there's seasons. I think loving a good dad looks different, but when y'all talk about, checking trauma, checking baggage, getting clarity on the front end, I think a lot of that is important.
Yeah. And I think as a married dad, it's good for men to remember to remind that woman to love you. Like, cause a lot of times, we are really the ones that lean into traditionalism. And sometimes we'll take the leadership and be hard in the position where it's like, oh, it's how you care on them. But then, especially now more than ever, we hear about the different complaints of not getting enough love. Well, you have to abide in the privilege that you have in your marriage. I'm privileged to have somebody that is already my partner. Well, I shouldn't have. If Rob has that issue, I really shouldn't have that issue because I have an open line of communication. He's in a relationship where he got a bill. You get what I'm saying? So if something's missing, it's more reasonable rather than if a dad, you got this woman, don't just be the provider and the protector. Don't just love on her. Not love on her, but like Valentine's Day come up, set some plans together. You get what I'm saying? That's something I often find myself reminding and growing in as a husband is, let me remind the woman, you rub her back and cover her back. You know what I'm saying? I want to be treated like the king that you say that I am.
I think sometimes though, the folks who are in relationship take it for granted a lot. I know as a man, when I'm in a relationship, or in the past when I was in a relationship, the expectation that they're there and present kind of gets taken for granted. Like I did stop dating the woman that I was with, the mother of my children. I stopped dating them And you have a little bit more of an impetus to do that when you single and you getting out of, you might be on a co-parent every other weekend schedule.
Yeah.
You're looking forward to that next Friday in order to dote on someone, spend time with someone, because you've been spending all this other time being a good dad. I think when you're inside of a relationship that's committed, you probably have to be even more intentional about experiencing that person as a datee, like it's someone that you're actually dating.
Reminding that woman she ain't just them kids' mom.
Yeah.
And vice versa, you know, reminding that man that he's not just them kids' dad, you know. Let them kids go be taken care of somewhere and go do some stuff, you know.
I want to add to that too, because I feel like a good dad needs to have a double consciousness. Be able to see where their weaknesses lie, where there's room for opportunity, and where there's room for mistake. Being able to vocalize that and communicate that. The way I look at it is this: it's pretty simple. Life is a chapter book.
Yeah.
You're going to be in memory. So the question I had to ask myself, and I married my best friend, who's my wife. I said, do I want this to be a short-term paragraph, or do I want this to be a never-ending story?
Well, you spitting bars, boy. Say it one more time. You want it to be a what?
A short-term paragraph, a small chapter, or do I want this to be a never-ending story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in Fast and Furious at this point. It's a new movie, different villain every few years.
And that's a valid point, though. I remember being in a men's group at church, and we were sitting around the table, 10 brothers at this table, and I was fresh into marriage. I was probably 3 years deep into marriage at this time. And I think I know everything about my wife. And so they went around the circle saying, how well do you know your wife? They gave me, I said about 9.6, 9.7 maybe, you know, on a bad day. And this brother who had been married for 50 years, when we got to him, he said, right now, about a 4. I was astonished. You know, this married this woman for 50 years. How are you at a 4? And he said, well, about probably 20 years ago, I stopped learning her. Right? So I would be bringing her gifts that were her favorite color, red, but her favorite color hadn't been red in 15 years. And so he said it was very important for him to have to rebuild the skills of learning his wife, because he had put so much weight on what he knew about her from the past, and not so much weight on who she had become today. And that was something that stood out for me, and I've carried that all the time, is that every time you're dating someone, you have to continuously be learning who they are.
Talk about the necessary actions.
Yeah.
Actions to take to learn your spouse.
Oh, I think a lot of this is just being intentional. I think one of the things I would probably put into my next relationship is a marriage retreat every year. In which we just went and spent some time to understand who we are today. Because we change from year to year. Like, we really change from year to year. It ain't just down to favorite colors. It's the things that annoy us. It's the things that motivates us. The things that get us excited about our partners. Those things change on a regular, consistent basis. And I don't think we do it a lot of time, because we're in the rigor of maintaining children's lives, being at sport camps, figuring out tuition, going from job to job. We don't spend a whole lot of significant time learning a person over and over again. I think one of the things I will implement is every year we're gonna just take a marriage retreat where we get some true, actual guidance and make it about that weekend or that week about learning each other again.
And, you know, just like you said, to contribute to that, you know, all things that build the relationship and also that build teamwork, you need to go have fun with your spouse and your mate. Because that is something that I'm still learning to this day. Like I had this concept with my wife that I didn't know that was so bad, which was I was on this, I'm not your best friend. Because she would be like, I married my best friend. I'm not your best friend. I got best friends. I got friends. You is babe, you wife. You got that position, you don't have to have the friendship position. Now, Nowadays, they seem a little more right because I learned how to be her friend. But what I didn't know was that I would spend years just having her as wife, as babe. But I didn't understand until somebody broke down to me what love bombing was. They was like, you're refusing to get to know somebody as a person, but yet you putting all this, you just coming in and just being romantic. But you being romantic with somebody who might not change. She ain't who she used to be. You get what I'm saying? But you don't know that because you ain't did no update. You get what I'm saying? You think this still the same chick you had from year 1, 2, 3 in the marriage.
You on iOS 14.
You on iOS 14 and we on iPhone 29. So I didn't know that. So now I spend more time intentionally, and we learned this in therapy. I spend time intentionally doing the things that she wants to do. You get what I'm saying? Especially the stuff that she wants to do together. And things that I think brothers need to know too is sometimes you got to take on the healing of while you also taking that on, because the longer, especially with a woman, the longer you go when you don't check in or you don't do this, when you leave her at okay, it's hard to get her back on that high. Cause she don't even feel safe up there with you no more. Cause she was like, well, I was up there with you, there wasn't much to it, so what you gonna do now? You know, I'd rather stay right here because this is what my expectations is in.
Yeah.
Our friendship is the only thing build that back.
What I'll add to that is, y'all said, Rob said retreat, turn the TV off, put your phone down for 30 minutes, share a meal together, go for a walk, ask some questions. Yeah. I think some of those small things is also how you continue to learn your mate, your spouse, your partner.
Be in the room without doing any of that stuff. Just be silent in the room without addressing the problem. I'm pretty sure at some point in your relationship, you just wanted to be present with them. I didn't need to be doing anything with you. I just wanted to be in the same room with you, and that was enough. A lot of times when you get in a relationship, there has to be all this extra thing going on. And I think if you could just sit in a room and just feel a person's energy and vibe off that and benefit from that, it doesn't always have to be something glamorous. It just has to be consistent and regular.
All right. That's the first cut. We're going to do that.
I got one more thing. I got a little bomb for us.
Hit it with it.
You have to be addicted to making her smile and laugh, and you're terrified of making her cry.
Hey, you telling the truth. The trick question gonna be how do you build the addiction back after you lost it? Which gonna be a thing a lot of people ain't gonna want to admit, but you can lose it.
I think it's gonna have to start with being intentional with every single day and going down memory lane. When y'all, like my wife and I, we roast each other.
Yeah.
We roast each other, and that's something that we did when we first dated. And so it's like every day I'm falling in love with her again because it's the person that I fell in love with.
And it's truly a reflection of you feeling like you're in a safe place.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I'm happy about as I've recently started a new relationship is just being in a safe place that I feel comfortable, I feel safe being regular, where I don't have to be performing.
Yeah.
I don't have to always be on. I can have bad days and still know that I'm being loved through them. Like a lot of it can be very performative, a very performative experience when you're dating. But when you find safety, man, that's a glorious place to be in. It just feels different.
Yes, sir.
I smell hot.
Yeah, me too. This